Many organizations and their audit departments want to implement a continuous monitoring system so that their system controls are tested effectively and an assurance can be given to the management by taking the holistic view of the system and data and the processes. However, the objective of continuous monitoring needs to be achieved only through a structured process. The first step is to learn how the data looks, how the data is organized, how the scripting can take place, how can nesting be taking place, how the basic queries can be defined. Maybe at this stage the usability is low, maybe at this stage the maturity is low, but you are getting acquainted and familiar with the entire process of data analytics. Once you cross this stage, then you can define in a better manner, that you can define audit objectives which are specific in nature, which have limited reusability, which can be achieved through certain level of standardization. You are able to extract data, see the value, define certain specific fields, define some patterns, and define a certain set of similarity of structures, and develop certain basic scripts which can be used in a limited sense for repeated assurance. However, you are not crossed the stage 3, and most of the organizations stop at stage 2 itself. The stage 3 is where the crux of the implementation lies, where the organizations start getting the insights of the data. That is, it is not only data analytics, it is not only the extraction of data and generating some exceptions, but to see how transactions are behaving. That is, for example, for the same plant, for the same period, for the same items, are there rate variances taking place? Are there quantity variances taking place? Are there bill variances taking place? Are there payment variances taking place? Are there reconciliation errors which are taking place? Are there specific users who are repeatedly violating certain rules and policies of the organizations? Are there certain IP addresses through which we can define certain exceptional patterns? And that is where the people start getting proactive view of the data and start identifying the exceptions and audit objectives yourself, rather than they are being defined by a proper checklist. And that once you start getting insights, then you can do better scripting, you can give better define better patterns, you can define better rules, you can define better objectives, and start controlling the process and finding out the exceptions in a proactive manner. The organizations must aim to achieve at least stage 3 of implementation of continuous monitoring system, because stage 4 and stage 4 are progressively difficult, and that is where the investments, efforts, time and money, energy is where it actually goes, but the returns are very high. In stage 4, the organizations take specific themes. So they take a set of processes together, bundle together. For example, payment process, say material reconciliation process, say procurement process, say billing process, and try to take a holistic view of the entire process, see all the related data structures, all the related fields which are necessary to do conduct audit, and then try to see correlations, try to do rationalizations, try to see how they can be built together, and a set of objectives can be defined, and through a set of objectives you're trying to find out exceptions and try to see where are the variances happening, where the exceptions are happening, where reportable data anomalies are happening, and that is where you are defined certain themes and running those themes on a regular basis. Here is where you are creating the base for a continuous monitoring system. The stage 3 and stage 4 are the ones where the organizations need to invest a huge amount of time, money, energy, thought process. The intelligence has to be built in here. The stage 5, though it is a more difficult phase, it's pretty simple once you have defined cross to stage 4. Here, all that you're trying to do is you're standardizing. You are standardizing data extraction process, you are standardizing data rationalization process, you are standardizing the data analytic process, you are standardizing the queries, you are trying to optimize the structures, you are trying to define the parameters, you are going to define the frequency of testing. And the frequency of testing is the most critical parameter, because continuous monitoring is not necessarily every instant monitoring, but you must define for every theme what is the frequency or what is the trigger point where you would invoke that particular script and see whether there are additional exceptions or not. So that is where we try to say continuous monitoring system is a risk-based periodicity definition process. So periodicity is defined based on the risk. That is very critical part. And then you are able to measure the risks. You are able to see the trends. you are able to see how the things actually are working progressively, are the controls getting effectively deployed. And the beauty of this continuous monitoring, that this process is independent of the auditee, independent of the processes, independent of the system errors, because you are getting a complete true and true visibility only through data, which speaks a lot, which has got entire repository, which takes care of all different kinds of exceptions and data processing part of it, and you are able to do it more effectively and give the assurance to the management. You need to understand the secret of continuous monitoring system deployment. Just to repeat the point, like this is a structured process, a scientific process by which you progressively get acquainted and progressively get confidence in the processes, and then build the systems which can be repeated across various plants, branches, units, probably across different clients. And the success of continuous monitoring and returns are very high if you follow this structured process. Thank you.